What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. Now today I've got for you one entitled people story, but it has a couple of updates and a phenomenal rant, which I know you're gonna love. I don't even want to give anything away. Without further ado, let's get into this one. Just a little warning, OP gets pretty irate, but rightfully so. Let's go. They dropped her off at my house, and then in brackets, rant. 4 days ago, I made my account and contemplated asking if I was a jerk for something. My half-sister had called me crying, saying that our mother, that's in quotation marks, kicked her out and she really needs her sister. I hung up the first time, and when she kept calling and texting, I told her we're not actually sisters, and I wasn't driving 6 hours to pick her up, nor letting her stay with me. I've been getting non-stop texts and calls from my maternal family since then. My maternal grandmother, the only person I stayed in any contact with, pretty much begged me to be a good sister and let my half-sister stay with me. She told my half-sister I have my own house, gave her my number, etc. I've blocked my grandmother and everyone saying that I should be understanding because we've both been abandoned by our mother. It isn't the same. I told my grandmother this, but no one seems willing to acknowledge that. For context, my half-sister and I are exactly 9 months apart in age. She is the product of an affair, and my dad stayed with my biological mother until I was 5, and she told him she kept bringing a man around when he wasn't home. Yep, that's her affair partner, and my half-sister's biological dad. My dad divorced my biological mother and gave her the house in exchange for removing his name from my half-sister's birth certificate. My biological mother lost custody of me when I was 8 after abandoning me because her affair partner didn't want to bring a child that wasn't his to family gatherings. Dad tried to keep it civil so I could have a relationship with my half-sister, but she was a mini version of her father and she never viewed me as a sister. I didn't like being around her, so my dad never forced me to. My biological mother, her affair partner, and my half-sister moved not long after this. My biological mother had been in childcare and lost her job because no one wants to hire you to watch their kids when you abandon yours in the middle of the night. I haven't seen my half-sister in 17 years. I didn't know what she looked like until I came home today. She was sitting on my porch with a suitcase, and a car, I think my grandmother's, pulled off as soon as I parked. I didn't get out of the car, I was too angry to even move, and I'm still angry right now. She kept saying she needs me and started crying, telling me that our mum, again in quotation marks, was awful. Her dad cut contact and our biological mother's new partner doesn't want her in his house. I live next door to my dad, so when my half-sister started knocking on my car window after I just stared at her, I called him and told him what was going on and asked what I should do. My dad told me to stay in my car and call the cops, say I had a trespasser, which I did. I didn't get out until the cops came, and when they did, my half-sister told them that I agreed to let her stay, and now I'm leaving her homeless. I just showed them the text, specifically the only text I gave in response to everyone demanding that I let her stay. No to you have the space, no to she's your sister, no to can she please stay with you. Nothing but refusals before I block people. When my half-sister kept saying we're sisters, I told the cops I haven't seen this woman in 17 years. I don't know her, I didn't even know what she looked like. We're not family beyond sharing an egg donor. I went as far as unblocking my grandmother and calling her. I didn't even get to speak. She said/yelled, "Look, OP, I love you, but you need to get over this. She's family and she needs you. And I've told your father you'd go to hell if he raised you to be so dang selfish. And you definitely will, because she's going through the same thing you went through." She hung up right after, and I told the cops they can book my half-sister or drop her at a shelter. I don't care. I just want her off my property. They took her, and now I'm sitting here on my dad's couch, wondering what the heck just happened. He doesn't want me staying alone right now in case they show back up. I'm so angry right now. I don't get it. 17 years of no contact. I only speak to my grandmother on holidays. I don't know most of the aunts and uncles and cousins that blew up my phone, but because my biological mum pushed me out, I have to do what they tell me to. I'm 25 years old. I've only had my dad and my paternal family for years. My biological mother and her family haven't done anything for me. None of them even know when my dang birthday is because even my grandmother texts me on the wrong day, not even a phone call. If my half-sister needs help so badly, one of you should help her. I don't know her. I don't know any of you either. I'm not letting an entire stranger into my house. And 6 hours is too far to visit when I had surgery, but not too far to try and force me to do something. There we go. That is the end of the first post. Wow, there we go. I mean, look, you put rant in brackets at the start in the title, and I can now see why, but it's not a rant that is not without reason. You know, like everything you've said here makes complete sense to me. This is really not your responsibility at all. This should all be on the maternal side of your family that you don't really associate with, that you haven't done for years and years. As you said yourself, your family has been your dad and that side for years now. You haven't seen this person in 17 years yet. Here she is on your doorstep, begging for help. Nah. I completely agree with everything you did, and yeah, I'm interested now to see what the update entails. Sorry, before we get into that, I just have to think about what was said at a point during this. The grandma said that she is going through the same thing that you went through, but you were an 8-year-old child, right, who got abandoned by their mother. She is a 20-year-old, or older than that, 25 or whatever, 24, 25, that's been cut off by a mother. Bit of a difference there, no? And also, your relationship with that person is completely different as well. Strange. Really, really strange. Okay, so here is the update, posted just 1 day later. I checked the camera footage last night / this morning. My half-sister and my biological mum's mother had been looking under mats, rocks, in potted plants, the mailbox, and checking the doors, probably looking for a spare key. I don't keep one on my property, and my dad, grandma, and grandpa have keys they keep with theirs. My uncle did an overhaul of mine and dad's cameras. We now have ones that send notifications to our phones when motion is detected. Also got Ring doorbells for the front and back doors. There are other features, and all the cameras are better hidden as well. I went to the police department while he was doing this, and I brought my grandpa with me. My half-sister was booked for trespassing, but not held very long since my biological mum's mother picked her up from the station. They stuck to the lie of me offering my half-sister a place to stay and gave statements. Not sure how that's going to go, but I'm taking steps to protect myself, my property, and my dad and his property. My half-sister doesn't have a record beyond this, so this was her first offence. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. It sounds awful, but I'd hoped she would have had at least one prior, because commenters make it seem like that would make the outcome of a permanent restraining order or trespassing order favourable. My biological mother's mother does have a record though. Harassment, trespassing, and domestic violence. I shared this with the police as well. Either way, I was able to get a temporary restraining order today, so there's that. I gave the camera footage to the police alongside copies of the texts, printed out and on USB. I gave a statement, and they called a judge to get the temporary restraining order issued. I talked with them about other things like self-defense recommendations, overhauling my security system, getting a gun for protection, and so on. I was really anxious and just kept talking because it finally hit me that these people know where I live and they're willing to make the 6 hours to harass me and get inside my home. You know what? That slipped my mind there for a second, guys. They made that 6-hour journey, didn't they? With no kind of assurity or reassurances that your half-sister was going to be let in by you. They were just doing that on a whim, right? That's mad. The text and voice messages haven't stopped. I unblocked and muted. There are direct and indirect threats. My biological mother's mother is adamant that since I have an entire house to myself, a stable job, and no children, I will be housing my half-sister, or she'd give me the butt whipping my dad should have. My half-sister has only left one voice message about coming over later today and that she's staying with me because that's what blood does. They help. When there was no response, she sent multiple texts telling me I need to be more understanding, that she's in a tough spot and that she's moving in for at least a week until she's able to support herself. It's 7 days to gain tenancy here. Additional clarification for people asking about the age gap. I am a February 1st baby. My half-sister is a November 29th baby. I say exactly 9 months because I'm not counting the weeks and days. I just felt that people knowing we're the same age was relevant and gave context as to why I have no relationship with her. I don't know if she was premature. I never asked, to be honest, and there are people saying they have similar age gaps around them, so I've got nothing to add there. Now, multiple people also asked if I hate my half-sister, and that I sound resentful for things she said as a child and for things her parents did. In my first post, I talked to somebody in the comments and admitted that had this been a few years earlier, I may have helped her out without much thought. I know as children, she was just parroting her parents. I don't fault her for that, nor do I blame her for my biological mother abandoning me. But it's been 17 years. We've been legal adults for 7 of those years. She could have reached out at any point, but she didn't, and said she had no sister. I also could have reached out at any point, but I also didn't. I just moved on with my life. I've been in therapy since I was abandoned, and it took me years to move on from no one on that side actually wanting me. My biological mother's mother aside, my half-sister was sitting on my porch with a suitcase, ready to force herself into my home and life. She allowed herself to be driven 6 hours to my home, sat on my porch for half an hour, and then lied to police, all after I said no multiple times. She never claimed me until she needed something, and now she's forcing herself into my life on the basis of being family. I don't hate her, that's too much energy, but I do resent her now alongside her grandmother and the rest of her family. I was ignored for years, and now I feel unsafe in my own home just because my half-sister and those around her can't take no for an answer. This isn't about my biological mum's affair. This is about my half-sister and her family ruining my safe space, my home, with their trash. The past is a factor in that resentment now because, again, I haven't spoken to her in 17 years. I didn't know what she looked like, but suddenly we're sisters because she needs someplace to stay. I definitely resent that. Also, I feel validated in my choices. Posting to Reddit, asking for and taking advice, listening to my dad. The attorney I spoke to pretty much said all the things that commenters have. Unblocking and muting to get evidence of harassment, calling the cops and showing them the messages because it proves there was no implied invitation. This is apparently the biggest thing I had to worry about because even letting my half-sister stay on my porch could have worked against me. Giving the cops the camera footage of my half-sister and biological mother's mother looking for a spare key was also a good move. Even going about upgrading security, getting self-defense items, and asking the officers about self-defense recommendations and my wish to get a gun for protection works in my favor. It shows that even though this was my half-sister's first offense, I don't feel safe, and she is a major cause of that. And I don't. So thank you again for all the advice. If they show up like they said, I'm gonna set off my security system and call the cops. Now guys, you might be thinking that that is the end of this one. It seems like it's come to a logical conclusion. And to be fair, the story at least, that event has. But actually, OP has posted another little bit of information. It's actually a series of text messages from a cousin of hers that shed even more light onto her biological mother, that side of the family, her half-sister, her ex-grandma, I guess, her biological mother's mother now. And that is really, really interesting. We're going to get into that in just a minute or so. But first of all, on this, again, all I can really say is that you've done the right thing. These people are an absolute disgrace, just coming to you in their time of need. And yeah, ultimately, they are very, very entitled people. I mean, being entitled is one thing. It's when you actually are now feeling unsafe in your own home and they're kind of feeling a little bit unhinged, for want of a better word, that it becomes dangerous and actually quite scary. Because who knows, as you said, if they're willing to drive 6 hours to do this and you felt the need to ask the police about, you know, do I need a gun here for self-defense? That is kind of getting past entitled really, and it's becoming dangerous. So yeah, all I'd say, even for a further recommendation, maybe get some extra locks, get a big dog, get a fence, build a wall. Don't want to make a joke here, but you know, like as you say, you feel scared. You need people to protect you. Get your dad involved. Maybe go and get your dad to move in with you for a period of time until this is kind of dealt with. Because yeah, as you say, scary stuff. But anyway, let's get into that final bit of info. So here we are. Concerned cousin on half-sister is what OP has titled this one. I was going through the first messages sent to me and I found one of the many that I muted without reading. This is from a cousin of my half-sister. So here it is. They say, Your half-sister's biological father cut contact with your half-sister when she was 20. She covered up your biological mother's affair with her current husband. Wow, I guess that's a new man into the equation, right? I'm not sure. It could be the same person as before. No, it can't have been, right? Wow. She covered up her biological mother, your biological mother's affair with another man, her current husband. Okay. So then, the half-sister's biological father stopped paying her tuition and cut her off financially. The half-sister's work history is non-existent. She was kicked out by your biological mother a month ago because she was sleeping with... Sorry, what? She was sleeping with the man that your biological mother was having an affair with and one of his sons. Said son turned 18 2 months ago. What? Your half-sister came home to hers and her mother's partner's things on the curb and all the locks changed. I say her mother's partners, it's her mother's husband. Sorry, this girl was sleeping with her mother's husband and one of his sons and then covered up that entire thing to her own dad. What has just happened to this story? Police weren't involved. The cousin who told OP about this doesn't know if OP's biological mother told the boy's mother, but she did tell the entire family. Essentially said, protect your kids and marriage. OP's half-sister claims she only slept with him on his birthday, but her mother claims he was a minor when OP's half-sister slept with him. The family is adamant about getting her somewhere safe to stay long term because, oh my goodness me, would you believe it? OP's half-sister is pregnant. No one likes her, but they believe abandoning her is wrong due to her being pregnant. The cousin expresses doubt about the pregnancy. Wow, really? So the cousin who is telling OP about all of this isn't even sure if her half-sister is pregnant or it's a lie. What? The half-sister showed OP's maternal grandmother a positive pregnancy test, but no one else has been given any proof. And the half-sister has a history of lying. Now, do we even know for sure if the half-sister did show OP's maternal grandmother a positive pregnancy test? Remember that this grandmother was the one that was willing to drive 6 hours with OP's half-sister to drop her off at OP's home with no guarantee of her letting her stay. Honestly, what is going on here? OP's half-sister couch surfed with those that don't have kids. So far, she's borrowed someone's car without permission, taken expensive items to pawn, taken money meant for interview clothes and travel, then blew it on expensive mum and baby outfits. When cops were involved, she lies and has gotten someone arrested by claiming SA when they tried to have her removed from their property. What? Oh my goodness me, this person gets worse and worse with every word. The plot to get my half-sister into my house was the idea of an uncle, one of my grandma's 3 sons. My grandma apparently brags/complains about me being young with no kids, a well-paid job, and a house that I own. Essentially, this uncle said I had no responsibilities, disposable income, and plenty of room. Because nobody wants to outright abandon my half-sister, this was the best plan, in inverted commas. This is the final message from OP's cousin. Don't give an inch, not even a ride to a shelter. Someone tried and she caused a scene, nearly getting them arrested because she kept lying about the situation. Please read this. I read your 2 posts. Stay safe. Okay, well, we knew she was bad before, but now I cannot actually believe what I've just read. You guys could probably hear my dismay and utter disbelief whilst I was reading those last paragraphs. Absolutely insane. I mean, let's have a look at what the people on Reddit are saying to that, because unbelievable. Someone has said, great job for the cousin for filling in these outrageous blanks. Wow, I completely agree with that, because there is so much information that the cousin has given you there that you otherwise wouldn't have known, we wouldn't have known, which is so bad. I mean, look, again, I thought it was bad anyway, but this is just another level. So much illegal stuff, just horrible stuff, so immoral and unethical. Just clearly shows your half-sister, at least, as well as, to be fair, other members of her family, to be just absolutely disgusting individuals. Again, comment down below, guys. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? I just need to go back and kind of understand just what was going on there. Your half-sister had sex with the dude that your mum cheated with on the dude that she cheated on your dad with, and then his kid as well. Is that right? Your family was then going to Trojan horse her and potentially a newborn, although we don't know if she actually is pregnant or not, into your house. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And to be honest, if they were going to do that, those would be the only Trojans your half-sister would ever see. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this one. I mean, what a freaking story, man. That is going to be like an all-timer because of that last, like, imagine receiving, or not even receiving, because you've already had that text and you went back and were having a look through your phone and you see that from your cousin and you think, oh my god, this is who we're dealing with. I don't know how that would make OP feel. Probably even more terrified. I mean, I'm sure it would. But, you know, this was posted 17 days ago at the time of recording. I hope that this has been resolved now, or at least they've left. And you know that once they have left, they are at least 6 hours away. It's a big effort to come back. But my word, I hope that, if anything, just OP stays safe. That's the most important part, and just never sees these people again. Absolute disgraces.